I bet you didn't know how much tariffs can shake up the global economy. Tariffs are essentially taxes on imported goods, and Trump has imposed them on both allies and adversaries. His goal? To reduce the trade deficit, the difference between how much America imports and exports. Trump believes these tariffs will protect American industries and revive manufacturing jobs. However, economists argue that tariffs are a blunt instrument. They can end up harming the very people they're meant to help. For instance, taxing imported steel might initially benefit American steelmakers. But what about the companies that use that steel to make cars or washing machines? Their costs rise, they might increase prices, and American consumers end up paying more. And then there's the issue of retaliation. Other countries won't just sit back and accept these tariffs. They'll retaliate with tariffs on American exports like soybeans, cars, and bourbon. This impacts American farmers, manufacturers, and even Kentucky bourbon distilleries. This tit-for-tat tariff war is like a game of economic chicken, and nobody wins. It creates uncertainty, disrupts global supply chains, and ends up hurting everyone's economy. So, how are these tariffs playing out in the good old US of A? Well, the early signs aren't pretty. Economists are warning of a slowdown in economic growth, with some even predicting a recession. Job losses are already being reported in industries hit by both the tariffs and the retaliatory tariffs. Remember those manufacturing jobs Trump promised to bring back? Well, some companies are actually moving production out of the US to avoid the tariffs. Turns out when your costs go up, you either have to raise prices or find a cheaper place to do business, and nobody wants to pay more for a washing machine, right? And let's not forget about the impact on American consumers. Those tariffs get passed down in the form of higher prices for everything from cars to washing machines to groceries. That means less money in your pocket to spend on other things, which further slows down the economy. It's a vicious cycle, folks, and the worst part is it's entirely self-inflicted. Now let's take a look at how these tariffs are impacting America's closest trading partners, Canada and Mexico, as well as Australia and Europe. Canada and Mexico are part of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which has been a boon for all three economies for decades. But Trump's tariffs have thrown a wrench into the works. Canada's been hit with tariffs on steel and aluminum, and they've retaliated with tariffs on American goods like ketchup, maple syrup, and playing cards. Mexico's facing tariffs on steel, aluminum, and even cars. They've retaliated with tariffs on American agricultural products like pork, cheese, and apples. Australia has also been affected, with tariffs on their wine and beef exports to the US. Europe is facing tariffs on cars, cheese, and wine, leading to higher prices for these goods in the US. And then there's China, the big kahuna of trade disputes. Trump's slapped tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods, and China's responded in kind. This tit-for-tat has escalated to the point where both countries are on the brink of a full-blown trade war. The problem is these tariffs are hurting businesses and consumers on both sides of the Pacific. American farmers are losing markets for their soybeans and pork. Chinese consumers are paying more for American-made cars and iPhones, and the global economy is feeling the strain. Let's be clear, tariffs are nothing more than a tax hike on American consumers. Every time you buy a new washing machine, a car, or even a can of beer, you're paying the price for these tariffs. And it's not just the price tag that's going up. The variety of goods available is also shrinking as businesses struggle to cope with the uncertainty and higher costs. So, the next time you're at the checkout counter and you see those prices creeping up, remember, you're paying for this trade war. And it's a war that nobody can win. Stay informed and subscribe to our channel for more updates on global economic issues.